Hey Christina. Hey Victoria. Hey Missy. Hello, hello. How's it going? What's everyone up to today? Morning, Amanda. No, you can sleep, honey. You can stay asleep. Shh, shh, shh. Hey Brittany. Hey Sloth. Okay. Good morning. I don't know if you guys noticed I'm wearing black to celebrate the death of our country. Yard work during Bucko Safe Week. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely do that yard work. If I had a yard, I would do yard work. Stress cleaning because I'm behind, but also because, yes. Like I said, that's why I'm wearing black. We're in mourning. Yes. It's quite something, isn't it, Christina? It's quite something. Yes. Quite something. Good morning, Jillian. Oh my gosh, I almost dropped the milk. Hey, Avery. How's everyone doing today despite the world? Sloth is like whistles in Canada. Yeah, I don't know how anyone can be, Christina, and yet here we are. There are people who are fans of this, which, I'm not gonna lie, baffles me day in and day out. I don't. I just dropped the kiddos off with Dad day after. Hey, look at you. Now that's something to celebrate. I'm going to brunch and connect with friends. That's good. Yes, tell them that we all said hey and we will miss you. The rest of the world is better off than us. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. There was a moment yesterday where Secret Husband and I were on a walk with the baby, and we were like, maybe we do like rush to finish our Italian citizenship and we just peace out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to like be alarmist or whatever, but we literally, like, because my mom's been working on our citizenship, and obviously if I get citizenship through my genetics, they get citizenship, and yeah, both, Claire. In some cases, both, right? Yeah, I mean, we were like, okay, so do we just take her to go live, like, in the part of the Alps that's, like, connects Germany and Austria and Italy, and then she can be around people that are the majority of her genetic culture anyway? Not that I'm into, you know, homogeneousness or anything like that, but, like, it's kind of cool, and it's quiet, nobody bothers anybody, they're all really nice, and they don't get involved in any of this stuff, you know? It's a really quiet place to live. It's safe, it's clean, the air is clean, the streets are clean, nobody bothers anybody. Morning, Avery. So we actually talked about it. We were like, yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? Happy birthday, Hamish. I know. And happy demise to our country. Yeah. Head down, head down. You can stay asleep. So, yeah, that is, it's up for debate currently. It's up for debate. Yeah. But despite all of that, I hope everybody has some good food today. I don't know what we're gonna eat. We don't have any plans anymore. Good morning to you as well. Hey Jack, how are you feeling, like, physically? You know, with, like, everything you're dealing with. As if the world isn't crazy enough. Poor Jack has to have surgery too. I mean, it's actually insane that you're dealing with surgery on top of this state of the world. Yeah, that sounds about right. Man, I'm tired. Jack, I don't ever want to make light of anyone's pain, but Brunhilde sent me to my grave laughing. When I opened that message, and I read the name Broomhilda, that message, and I read the name Broomhilda, I lost it. I lost it. You ended me. I literally, like, the baby was sleeping on me, and I had to stifle laughter to not wake her up, because I was like, Brunhilde. I wish I had named my demo doll Brunhilde. Jamantha's a great name, don't get me wrong, but if I ever get a second size demo doll, because you're supposed to have multiple sizes, Brunhilde is her name. We love morbid humor in this group, it's true. Morning, Ray. Excuse me, I had a little froggy in my throat. My dad just got finished barbecuing everything he has in barbecue dinner, so this is special. That's amazing. Is he doing it with all of his TikTok shop purchases with him? While we're making light of things? Because we know he loves a tracksuit. Why? That we don't know. That part we don't know. Unsure. I had a weird feeling. Oh, I don't forget things, you guys. I don't forget things. I love to name things. I do too, Jack. I name everything. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. I name literally everything. You know what I haven't named yet? I guess they come with names, so it's different. But like, I haven't named my carriers, but they do come with names, so. My cars always have names. Yes. Cars always had names. There was a time when I named all my cars after Finding Nemo characters. Hey, other Ray. We have 2 Rays in the room. Hey, Roxy. Yeah, I had a VW Bug when I was younger, and it was like a soft, like, cute green, and I named it Squirt after the baby turtle. Hey, Isabella, in Finding Nemo. So my car was named Squirt, and I had, and it was a bug. It was cute. It was very cute. Morning, Priscilla. All right. You guys want to see what I did yesterday? Okay, so wait, I want to tell you guys this. Do you remember how I said I was going to use my time wisely? Like July and August was going, oh really? Ray, why are we the same person? Wait, but literally, why? My phone's name is Galinda, and it always has been, and it's pink. So, well, the phone's not pink, but the case is pink. But that's just the wicked fan in me. But remember how I told you guys I was actually going to, put my life back together? Look at the counter. It's so clean. Everything is decluttered. The dead flowers are gone. I washed the counter itself. It's beautiful. I've already used my free time wisely. And on top of doing that, every single person who had a charge date up till yesterday, all of the orders are shipped already. I named my old car Cynthia, Ursula, Natasha, Theodora. That's great. I love that. That's amazing. Yes. Yes. It's the old pile method, right? Yeah, literally. That was pretty. Oh, hey. You can go back to sleep. So everything is chugging along for July so far. So we're gonna get caught up. I also half cleaned off the table. It's not fully done, but I'll work on that today. Hey, Amanda. We'll get more stuff done. And then maybe in August, I'll write a book. Who knows? If I get the house clean in July, maybe August will be book writing month. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. How are you all? I wonder if she'd let me sit in the comfy chair. I'm sitting on the whatever. I never understood naming inanimate objects. I love when people do. I just can't not do it. I've always done it. Like when we were kids, we had an old Dodge van that we used for all our road trips, and her name was Lucille. It was great. Driving back to BT's probably won't survive long before the time zone. Understood. Completely understood. Yes. It's like spring cleaning on steroids. Yes. Spring cleaning. It's summer cleaning. So what else do I have to tell you all? I am a little more relaxed already because I didn't have to like, so this is the thing. It's not that I don't have the ability to accomplish all the things that I need to accomplish in a month. I actually think, well, other than like cleaning the house on top of all those other things, I mostly, oh my God, it's your niece's birthday. Happy birthday to her, 21. Oof. I mostly can do it. I was getting behind on household things, which is difficult. But the really hard part and the part that was stressing me out was like when she was dealing with something like teething, not being able to sleep, and crying. I was trying to like really get her down as fast as possible so that I could get right back to work. You know what I mean? And like having this freedom to, like, last night she didn't sleep, you guys, so I didn't sleep. So I might take a nap today, and that's probably very healthy. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'll get to take a nap, but like she was up 6 times last night. You know what I mean? And so like having to jump right into work when you're not rested, it makes it so much more stressful. And I think this is something interesting, like the early days, I do beadwork and I'm making my bestie, congrats. I love that, Ray. I have a friend who is in the middle of a divorce, so send me a picture, and if they're her vibe, maybe I'll buy some off you. But what I was gonna say was, a lot of people, so like, you know how most people, I don't get maternity leave. I made a fake maternity leave, and I'm still working in July and August, obviously. But most people who get maternity or paternity leave, it's the first couple of months of the baby's life, right? Or month or weeks or whatever. I have to tell you, the time when she was the littlest was easier because she didn't have opinions yet. You know what I mean? So like, I almost wish that I mean, taking the first 3 weeks off was important. We all bonded and things like that. But like, I'm almost glad that I went back to work when she was 3 weeks old and did all that work and earned a little bit extra money then, so that I can take a little bit of time right now, because it's actually harder right now because she's hurting, so she's crying, and it hurts my heart. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, yeah, we have to adjust to her stages and help her. And sometimes she just needs a walk outside, and I can't keep working if I have to go for a walk outside, you know? So that's what it really comes down to. And I think it's healthy to do it. I have always been a very serious victim of hustle culture. I have been hustling and working my entire life. Like, you guys, this is gonna sound idiotic to you, but I started my first business when I was 8 years old. You know what I mean? I made friendship bracelets for the other kids in the neighborhood, and I had order forms for them. Like, that's not a joke. Like, I've always done this. It's always been something pretty and crafty and whatever like that. But like, I hand wrote order forms and I handed them out to people because I could do the designs that the other kids couldn't do. You know what I mean? And like, I would hand them out, and it was like, okay, this is the base price for a bracelet of this design, and if you want to add colors, it's 25 cents per color. Like, I still have them. You know what I mean? Yeah, the guilt that you feel when you aren't being productive when you've been that person your whole life. You know, it's hard to deprogram that. It really is. Total workaholic. And Jack, you need to take a step back too, because surgery is, no, you really, I think you should take some time, you know? No, you shouldn't feel like you're slacking. I'm telling you this to tell you the opposite of that, actually. I'm telling you this to tell you that you shouldn't do that. Don't do it. It's hustle culture isn't the win that they made us believe it is. Yes, rest is productive. Yes. I'm not telling you this I'm telling you this to tell you it's a bad thing, not to tell you you should do it. Girls, to the younger girls in here going, they feel like they're behind. No. Opposite. I'm telling you this is bad. Don't do what I did. Don't fall victim to what they think you should do. Yeah. Don't do it. Yeah. No. It's a sickness. And it's a uniquely, I part of me usually when I'm explaining it usually says it's a uniquely American problem, but it's a Western problem. The UK has it as well, a little bit Canada, but not as much. You know, it's not just, it's really hard to rewire, but like that's why when I lived in Italy, and I'm glad for a million reasons that I came back. I wouldn't have this baby and my wonderful husband if I hadn't come back from Italy, but like they don't live like that there. You know what I mean? Like they go home every day for lunch to have lunch with their families, regardless of what their job is. The stores close at lunch and everyone goes home to have lunch with their family. You know what I mean? Like they just like take a minute. Like when I worked at Slumu, I never even took breaks. I ate my lunch on the go. You know what I mean? And that's not good. It's not healthy. It's not helpful. You know what I mean? Like if you ever look back at the old videos, it would take forever to get back to them. There are joke videos on the Slumu TikTok and Instagram about how I worked so much it was almost impossible for me to even make it all the way to the bathroom in the break room because so many people would stop to ask me questions along the way. And the joke was, haha, Sasha can't even make it to the bathroom. But like literally, I couldn't even make it to the bathroom without getting bothered. You know what I mean? I think it's sad. I think it's a lot of generational too. We have parents that pushed us constantly to work, no breaks. Yes, yes. And we have to raise our kids to know that breaks are good. That's right. And that's why I want to take that time. Like if she needs to go outside for a walk, you know what? That's okay. We can go for a walk. You know what I mean? And did you ever find a way to open that? You know what? I didn't. I did not find a way to open it. No. So anyway, I know that that's not what we're here to talk about, but we do have to model it. And if I'm going to be a good mom, part of being a good mom, it is showing her those things. Yeah, walk it off does not work. No, there is no walk it off. No. Yeah. My mom's a workaholic. She absolutely is, you know? And listen, here's the thing. I understand where a lot of it comes from. So for example, my grandfather was a very hard worker. Some might have called him a workaholic. My grandmother was a stay-at-home mom because that was just what you did at the time. But I understand why someone like my grandfather would have become a workaholic, being the child of immigrants. He was born in 1910. It was a different time. Everyone had to work. They all went to work very early because, truly, Brittany, because they needed to support their family and survive. Survival was the ticket there, right? And then they became successful and they instilled in their children that hard work equals success. Look, you can have this American dream, blah, 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 blah. But the problem is, and my husband and I were talking about, it can bring a lot of health issues. My husband and I were talking about this the other day. He even said, he was like, you know, everything was financially different when the world was, when it was financially possible for one parent to work. And I'm not saying it's right which one, you know what I mean? We're not choosing like one or the other. Like if you want to be a stay-at-home dad, be a stay-at-home dad. But there need, you know, the fact that both parents have to work for survival is a problem, you know? And that is where we're at, all of us. You know, I don't know, I mean, maybe not all of us, but I don't know, I don't know a lot of families who can survive on one income. My sister is a stay-at-home mom, but they make sacrifices to make that happen, you know, and that's, you know, it is what it is. And when her kids are old enough to go to school, she'll go back to work, you know, and things like that. And so, you know, it is interesting how we've kind of twisted the things, because being a parent is a full-time job also, but they expect you to do both somehow, or three things, or whatever, you know. So anyway, enough of my soapbox on this, the day of Hamish's birth. Hey Anya, but anyway, I just wanted to Stay-at-home mom. My husband works 2 jobs to do it. See, that's one of the sacrifices. Yeah, yeah. People have to sacrifice. Yeah, and I'm sure there are other sacrifices you have to make too. You know, they don't go on vacations. They don't. You know, there's other things. So anyway, it's all worth considering. You know, but let us read chapter 6 and happy birthday, Hamish. A dead mockingjay chick, eyes still bright, feathers blue-black in the sunlight, clawed feet empty on a bed of moss. Lenore Dove stroked its plumage with her fingertips. Poor baby, poor little bird, who will sing your songs now? Luella looked so tiny, so still in the chaos around us. A fine job I did protecting her. Dead before we even made it to the arena. Who will sing your songs now, Luella? Technically, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but only because I work home 70 hours. Exactly. Same, Jack. I mean, literally same. Wait, but like literally though, Jack, right? I mean, like, yes, exactly same. Yeah. 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 And yeah. Yeah. I'm winded by the impact of the fall, bruised for sure, but nothing's obviously broken. Luella? I say as I kneel over her, knowing it's useless, and I attempt to rouse her, try to find her pulse, but she's flown her body already. Her vacant eyes confirm this as I slide her lids closed. One of her braids rests in the blood leaking from the back of her skull, which cracked open when she hit the pavement. That's very true, Amanda. The penciled black eyebrows jump from her drained face, and I arrange her braids, lick my thumb, and wipe a drop of blood from her cheek. The shaft that connected our cart to the team apparently snapped, and our horses are long gone, leaving a trail of wreckage. Wyatt and Maisie, who managed to hang on to the railings, extricate themselves from the ruins of our chariot, beat up but alive. Wyatt picks up Luella's hat, which must have fallen off when we were thrown, and as they join us, neither one has to ask if Luella is dead. Maisie pulls one of her necklaces, a heavy strand of beads woven into purple and yellow flowers. I was going to give her this for her token so that she would have something from home. She kneels down and I lift Luella's crushed skull while she places the beads around her neck. Fresh blood seeps into my hand. Thanks, I say. She likes flowers. I can't speak of her in the past, not while she's still warm and close. They're going to come to get her, warns Wyatt, and I see 4 peacekeepers making a beeline for us amidst the medics and the handlers and the dazed tributes. They want to take Luella away, to hide her tidily in a wooden box along with their crimes, and ship her home to District 12. They don't want to feature this death on the Capitol's watch, unplanned and highlighting their incompetence. This is not the blood that they want to paint their posters with. I scoop up Luella in my arms and I begin to back away. It's no use, Wyatt says. They're still gonna take her. She doesn't belong to them, snaps Maisie. Don't just hand her over. Make them fight for her. You run. And so I do. And I'm a fast runner. The only kid who can beat me in foot races at school is Woodbine Chance. Well, he used to beat me anyway. I run for Luella, but I run for Woodbine too, because he'll never run again. And I have no idea where I'm going. I only know that I do not want to give Luella to the Capitol. Maisie is right. She doesn't belong to them at all. Dodging any white peacekeeper uniform, I weave past red-streaked bodies, past the wreckage district chariots, just the wrecked District 6 chariot. Apparently their horses leaped the barricade and plowed into the crowd. Medics swarm around, shouting and carrying stretchers with Capitol people, leaving the injured District 6 tributes right where they fell. My escape path leads me farther down the avenue towards the president's mansion. Several of the chariots are pulled over along a parade route. It's a clear shot to the mansion, but I'll never make it. The peacekeepers' shouts get louder, and Luella is growing heavy.
My toes blister in the tight boots, my chest aches, and I haven't drawn a full breath since I hit the ground. What difference does it make, me handing her over now or later? Some of the big screens over the crowd have gone to waving a flag, but a handful of others still display the parade route. I catch sight of myself on one of them. Luella looks peaceful, like she's sleeping in my arms. If this is still being recorded and possibly aired, at least in the capital, maybe it does make a difference if I can resist as best I can. Maybe this is where I paint my own poster. Ahead, I spot the District 1 chariot, a glimmering golden thing drawn by snow-white horses. The tributes have dismounted and stand off to the side except Panache, who's pulling on the bridles of the horses. "Come on," he yells at them. "Move it." He no doubt wants to continue the parade, to be the only tribute who makes it to the president's mansion by chariot. A grand entrance for a future victor. But the horses resist. They're stamping their feet and throwing their heads back. Silka removes one of her fancy stiletto heels and begins to beat the flank outside of the horse, drawing blood. The horse neighs in pain and kicks, throwing the team into confusion. Silka's knocked to the ground, and Panache has to dive sideways to avoid being trampled. Peacekeepers are on my tail, my arms giving out. I seize the moment and I spring into the chariot just as the horse's distress overcomes their training. Panache had a great idea, and now I'm stealing it, right out from under him. I want to be the tribute who arrives by chariot, and I want Luella to be with me for all to see. As the team jumps forward, I get tossed into the railing, letting it bear some of Luella's weight, and I hear Panache howl of rage behind me, but I ignore him. The horses resume their normal pace, and I manage to straighten up. I lost my cheesy imitation coal miner's hat in the accident, and I rid the headgear, and outfits become merely neutral, black and forgettable. Our tokens catch the eye, Luella's bright beaded necklace and my exquisite flint striker. For the first time in the gorgeous rig with our fine ornaments, we look like tributes of consequence, not long shots, or at least long shots that you might consider sponsoring. A shame one of us is dead. The horse comes to a stop directly under the balcony, and I look up and freeze, too intimidated to breathe. President Snow, not on a screen, but in the flesh. The most powerful, and therefore the most brutal person in Panem. He stands calm and erect, surveying the calamity of the opening ceremonies. His head dips slightly, and a lacquered silvery blonde curl falls onto his forehead. Our eyes meet, and a smile plays across his lips. No anger, no outrage, and certainly no fear. I've not impressed him with my performance. The reckless mountain boy with the dead girl in her arms just seems foolish, a trifle amusing, and nothing more. Something steals inside of me, and I think, "You're on a high horse, mister, and someday someone will knock you off of it straight to your grave." I dismount the chariot, and I lay Luella down, taking a step back so that Snow can't pretend he doesn't see her broken little bird body. And then I gesture to him and begin to applaud, giving credit where it's due. "Spin this one, Plutarch," I think. And suddenly, the president's expression changes, and he turns his attention to the screen to my right, which features a shot of me from the waist up, clapping. His fingers move to the signature white rose in his lapel, straightening it as he looks down again. The blue eyes narrow, but he's not focused on my face. Is he looking at my flint striker? I'm grabbed from behind and dragged away. Medics descend on Luella, but I know there's no bringing her back. I hate leaving her behind, but what would I do with her? Even if I held on to her, did her family get to see her send off? Did mine? But they wouldn't have shown this in District 12. They probably cut out when the horses bolted. I struggle for a bit, and then I feel that I'm working too hard. Going limp, I make the peacekeepers tow me down the long road back to the stables. They catch on, and they flip me around, and they cuff me, and they make me walk myself. And that's when I become aware of the crowd still in the stands, and I hear the voices shouting, "Hey, you, where are you from?" "Over here, boy. Hey, what's your name?" 12, right? You're the kid from 12? That catches my attention. Me. Are they talking to me? My head twists from side to side. Hey, speak up, boy. We can't sponsor you if we don't know who you are. These people want to sponsor me? To send me food and supplies in the arena? They bet on me like a starved dog in a fight? Maybe I should be grateful, or at least smart, but it's impossible with Luella's blood coating my hands. I hawk, and I send spit directly at the man's face, which is bloated and twinkling with tiny embedded mirrors. It lands on his cheek, and the crowd roars with laughter. You tell him. Hey, I like your style. Are you Hamish or are you Wyatt? Which one are you? That last one was a shout from some woman who wears a bird's nest on her head, and she waves her Hunger Games program, which has a shiny golden 50 against a background of the Pan Am flag on the cover. I'm working up another loogie when one of my guards warns me, enough of that. But I spit anyway. He elbows me hard in the side, and the crowd cheers. I'm not even sure who for. Fed up, peacekeepers toss me into a chariot filled with the District 4 tributes, and I get to ride to the stables holding on to some guy's fake trident so I don't get tossed out again. He's not supportive of this, and we barely make it back before he shoves the butt of it into my solar plexus and I'm on the ground again. Nice one, urchin, laughs a girl from 4, flipping her fishtail at me as they walk away. It doesn't seem to be any particular reason to get up, so I just lie there, not caring if I get trampled or not. The memory of Luella's lifeless body under Snow's balcony has burned itself into the back of my eyelids. It seems like that's all I will ever see again. Things settle down as the place begins to empty out. No one is in any rush to move an unruly District 12 tribute through. After a while, Maisie appears above me. Her fountain of curls is drooping to one side of her head. Well, you got the last word tonight, Mr. Abernathy. Did I? What exactly did I say again, Miss Donner? Don't mess with District 12 is what you said. Half of my mouth manages a smile. Scared them pretty good, you reckon? I don't. But at least they know we're here. She helps me to my feet. I'd rather be despised than ignored. Wyatt walks up. Hey, nice work with the crowd. Should bring you a few sponsors. Our odds have improved slightly with the crash. All of District 6 is injured and 10's beat up pretty bad too. I resist the impulse to hit him, and Luella is dead, I say. Yeah, but it's unlikely that Luella would have killed any of us anyway, as she's the undersized 13-year-old from District 12. She's barely factored into the rankings anyway, says Wyatt, and I stare at him, amazed by his coldness. Just what odds do you think your pa is giving you on winning, Wyatt? Shame creeps across his face, but he only says, hey, about 40-1. So if you're the victor and I bet $1 on you, I get $40 back? 41 minus the Booker Boy fee. I guess you're a long shot for your pa to hold you so cheap, I say. Hey, I never pretended otherwise. Wyatt turns and walks over to our van, one of the few still left in the stable. Boy, that was mean, even by my standards, Maisie says to me. You can't choose your parents. Yeah, but you could reject their business, I point out. I couldn't, says Maisie. I was going to spend the rest of my life behind the candy counter no matter how much I hated it, and I'm guessing that you would have been wearing miner's overalls to your grave. We never, none of us, had any choices. And she follows Wyatt into the van, leaving me to ponder the possibility that I've outmeaned Maisie. Not something to be proud of, but neither is factoring Luella's death into our odds. Her body's not even cold yet, and he's reduced her to a number. But she was not a number. She was a little girl that I met on the day she was born, when Mr. McCoy, his face alight with joy, held her up at the window for all us kids to see. A terrible, dark grief begins to well up inside me, threatening to drown me, but I force it back down. I swallow the sadness, I clamp the lid on it, and I dam it up. They will not use my tears for their entertainment. The effort leaves me dizzy, so I sit against a pillar and watch the birds flitting around the rafters. Horses and chariots disappear into the depths of the stable. Tributes straggle in from the avenue and join up with their districts. A couple of peacekeepers stroll around cuffing the strays. They give me the eye, but they leave me be. I find myself staring up at the electronic board that lists all the tributes. We don't seem to rate last names. Second quarter quell, it says. Tribute roster. District 1, boy, Panache, girl, Silka, boy, Lupe, girl, Karat. 2, boy, Alphys, girl, Camilla, boy, Janice, girl, Nona. 3, boy, Ampert, girl, Dio, boy, Lect, girl, Coil, and so on, and so on, and so on. District 12, boy, Wyatt, girl, Maisie, boy, Hamish, girl, Luella. 48 kids, minus 1. I will never remember all their names. I doubt they'll remember mine. There's just too many of us. A boy in electric blue coveralls about Sid's size comes up to me, his handcuffs jingling a little, another lamb for slaughter. Hey, I'm Albert. I'm from 3. I look behind him. He's unchaperoned, probably a bigger long shot than I am. I can't imagine what he wants, but I hope someone will be friendly to my brother under these circumstances, so I say, Hey, Albert, I'm Hamish. How old are you? I'm 12. You? I turned 16 yesterday. That stinks, he says, and he squats down beside me, fiddling with his cuffs. I would open these in a jiffy if I had a hairpin. I smile at his bragging. Or a key? You sound like my father. He'll laugh when I tell him that. I could point out that Albert will never see his father again, but I've already exceeded my meanness quota for the day. It's kinder to humor him, so I take a safety pin from my overalls and hold it out. All right, try that, buddy. His face lights up like he just got a new toy. He pops open the pin and begins to wiggle the point into the cuff lock. They don't really teach us this in school. They focus on the technology that we use in the factories, but my mother taught me. She's the mechanical one. I know lots of things that should be useful in the arena, if you'd like to be my ally. So that's it. His fellow district tributes have rejected him, and he's on the hunt for someone more pathetic than he is. A District 12 coal miner seems like a likely candidate. I tell him, I had an ally, and she's already dead. I'm sorry. I thought she was just knocked out. Luella McCoy, right? She's the one you made President Snow own? Well, I'll say this for Ampert. He doesn't miss a beat. Yeah, the thing is, Ampert, I don't know that I'm really ally material. I think that you can do better. Why don't you just go back and ask your district tributes to team up with you? Oh, they already have. But I'm trying to build an alliance to counter the careers. I've got all of 7 and 8 on board, and I think 11 is thinking it over. He gives a final twist, and the left cuff falls off his wrist. He holds up the pin in triumph. Told ya. Whoa, I exclaim. How'd you do that? I'd teach you if we had more time. Ampert pops the cuff back on before anyone else notices and pockets the safety pin. If you change your mind, I'll be around. And he scampers off, and I can see him reporting back to the other District 3 tributes who crane their necks to check me out. I don't know what that kid needs me for, not my brain. Maybe like Hattie, he thinks that I'd make a good mule, but my ally days began and ended with Luella. When I'm the last tribute left, a peacekeeper orders me inside the van and she chains me up, Maisie and Wyatt, and then she looks around and frowns. Where's your escort and your stylist? Where are your mentors? None of us answer. We don't know, and why should we? Another peacekeeper speaks up. Drusilla took a powder after the crash. Magno Stiff never showed. She consults the clipboard, and I don't even see a mentor listed for 12. What are we supposed to do with them then? Asked the first one. I'm off duty in 10 minutes. There's an after party for my squad, and I'm the only one who can make a good rum punch. Can't leave them here. Take them to their quarters, I guess. Let them figure it out. The door closes and the engine rumbles to life. In the pitch black of the van, I lean my head back against the wall. All the miseries of the last 2 days can no longer be denied. The throbbing headache from the rifle butt at the reeving, the terror of the tasing, the heartbreak of my loved ones' goodbyes, the toxic shower, the humiliating parade of before Pan Am, the chariot crash, and worst of all, the horror of being soaked in Luella's blood. Everything hurts, inside and out. We're unloaded onto a street lined with candy-colored apartment buildings. The disgruntled peacekeepers lead us past armed guards into a lobby with fake wood paneling and onto an elevator that smells like old socks and cheap perfume. She turns a key into the slot marked 12 and uncuffs us on the ride up. We've been told that your mentors are waiting for you here. They said no cuffs, but there are peacekeepers a buzzer away, and there are cameras everywhere. She nods to one of the corridors of the elevator. No attempt has been made to conceal it. They want you to know that they're watching, or to think they're watching, even if no one is. I know, Ampert is so sweet, right? No peacekeepers, no peace, I mutter, and the peacekeeper gives a sharp nod. Exactly. When the doors open, she pushes us out into the entry. A frame painting of a white poodle in a tuxedo hangs over a small table holding a bowl of wax oranges. "All right, they're all yours," she shouts, and the elevator door closes behind us. We stand abandoned under the poodle's critical eye, waiting for the next round of abuse, and in the quiet I become aware of a familiar scent. It's the bean and ham hock soup that my mom makes when someone dies. It can't be, of course, but still, with Luella's loss so new, something begins to unravel inside me, and the tears that I've been saving up since the reaping fill my eyes. This infuriates me, and I blink hard to hold them back. Soft footfalls approach, and a small young woman appears, and I recognize her immediately. The black-haired girl from District 3 who won last year's Hunger Games. "Hello, I'm Wyrus. I'm one of your mentors." It was an arena full of shiny surfaces, lakes that reflected the sky, clouds that returned the favor, and everywhere boulders and caves and cliffs overlain with mirrors. When the tributes were lifted into the arena, they couldn't get their bearings. Every which way they turned, the tributes were shimmering tunics stared back at them. Watching back in 12, Sid had whispered, "I can't hardly look at this. It makes my eyes go cross." If it was disorienting to view from the outside, it was incomprehensible within. A giant silver cornucopia held a bounty of supplies, but even navigating the path to it proved treacherous. A tribute would reach for a weapon and get a handful of air. Leaping into a clearing, they'd smack into a wall, or they would dodge an attacker only to run straight into their sword. Most of the tributes went nuts, but not Wyrus. Well, ain't that a line? Ain't that a line? Suzanne. She had to have planned this book when she wrote book 3, because she was already calling them nuts and bolts. She had to have known. Anyway, she took it all in, and then she carefully maneuvered away from the cornucopia, somehow finding packs of supplies where none seemed to be. Eventually, a clumsy bloodbath ensued, but she was long gone by this point, exploring the arena bit by bit until she settled onto a rock jutting out over the lake, in full view of her competitors, except they were never able to see her. She found a blind spot, and although they'd come raging within a few feet of her, she avoided detection. She just sat there, quiet as a mouse, eating, drinking from the lake, and sleeping curled up in a ball. The funny thing is, if anything can be called funny about the Hunger Games, was watching the game makers attempt to deliver her sponsor gifts, which they repeatedly failed to do. They were as blind to her spot as the tributes were, and while they joked about it, you could see that they were embarrassed to have a girl from District 3 understand their arena better than they did. When they cleared the field, it was down to Wyrus and a boy from District 6. Wyrus finally stood up, revealing herself, and the boy leapt for what he thought was her, cracked his head, and drowned in the lake. Well, damn. She won without ever killing anyone. What a gem. She used her smarts to do it. She outsmarted literally everyone. The victor's hovercraft flew around for about an hour trying to locate her before she walked back to the cornucopia for a ride. Later, when they asked how she'd figured out her strategy, she replied, "I just followed the light beams." More than that, she could not or would not say. You wanted to cheer for her, given that she outsmarted the game makers, but she was just too unnerving. So, of course, they gave her to us. We always got the leftovers, filthy costumes, broken down nags, and now, Wyrus. I tried to roll with it, but it pisses me off. I don't want Wyrus for a mentor. She's just another bizarre person to deal with when I'm already scraped raw. How can a girl who follows light beams help me anyway? How can a girl who left the arena without a scratch teach me how to protect myself? How can a girl who has fought no one, killed no one, and mentored no one, mentor me? She can't. That's all. I'm fixing to say as much when a second woman arrives, and it takes a moment to place her. She's probably older, near Hattie's age, and then I remember a games from when I was little, an hysterical boy dressed in a suit made of seashells who had been crowned in front of the entire nation of Panem. The hysteria had triggered when they played the recap of the games, showing 23 of his competitors' death, and this woman had held the boy or done her best as his mentor to shield him from the cameras, which were devouring every awful bit of it. It's Mags, a victor from District 4. She looked at me sadly, knowingly, and then she opens her arms and says, "I'm sorry about Luella, Hamish." For a moment, I teeter between anger and grief, but the dam finally breaks, and I step into her embrace, and I drop my head onto her shoulder, and I begin to cry. Mags and Wyrus. All right, chapter 7. We should do it because we have the time, right? Let's use it. If everything we said at the beginning of this, if we're going to put our money where our mouth is, we should take this time in the morning to, that's why book club is so important to me. Like, it's that thing, that one moment where we just, even if sometimes the books are hard to read, it's still such a good thing for us all. Like, it's so connective, peaceful. Everybody's like, happy is a relative term. Disassociate, yes. Disassociated sometimes. Suzanne's trying to make me have a nervous breakdown, and I know, she's trying. This is the thing though, she got us obsessed with all of these characters over the last 4 books, and then she's like, hey, here you go. You want to see them when they were younger, in their prime? Here they are. Oh God, my hair is stuck. Hair out, chapter 7. I don't cry much in general, only when people die, and then I cry hard, fast, and ugly, which is what I'm doing now, because Luella is dead, and I was supposed to look out for her, and I didn't. And while Lenore Dove will forever be my true love, Luella is my one and only sweetheart. Mags just holds me while I sob, and it racks my bodies in tears, and snot drip onto her shoulder. Wyrus takes Maisie and Wyatt farther into the apartment, giving us a moment. I'm sorry, I choke out. But Mags shakes her head and just keeps patting my back. And when I calm down some, she leads me through the apartment to a bathroom where a tub of steaming water awaits. She hands me a bag and says, "Put your costume in here. Magno wants it back, and then you bathe and join us." And when Mags goes, closing the door behind her, I throw a towel over the camera for some privacy, not caring at all if they punish me for it. And then I strip off the vile costume and I shove it into the bag. Hot baths are a Sunday ritual in my house. Cold water buckets doing for the rest of the week, since it takes a lot of pumping and heating to fill our tin wash tub. This deep porcelain version, nearly full to the brim, the creamy bar of soap and the liquid shampoo are undreamed of luxuries. I sink down into the bathtub, letting the heat envelope my body as plumes of Luella's blood tint the pristine water to pink. I shut my eyes and I try to empty my mind, so there's only warmth and the murmur of dissenting voices and the smell of soup distant voices, and the smell of soup mingled with light flowery scent of soap. This is all the world is, nothing more. I must lie like this for a long time because the water's cool and my fingertips wrinkle when they open my eyes again. I drain the tub and I have a good scrub under the shower, cleansing myself of the insecticides, the dirt road, and the last traces of Luella's life. After drying myself with a big cushy towel, I pull on the underwear and the plaid black shirt and the pants that they left for me, and I slide my feet into a new pair of boots. As I open the bathroom door, I try to decide if I should feel embarrassed by my outburst or realize that I don't give a hang what anyone thinks anyway. The apartment, which has a strange, impersonal quality, has been decorated by someone whose taste runs to fluffy things and burnt orange. The kitten and puppy knickknacks seem at odds with the bars on the windows. I follow my nose to the kitchen where Mags, Wyrus, Wyatt sit around the table eating. "Join us," Mags says. "Your friend is in her bath now." And I'm too tired to correct her about the status of my relationship with Maisie. Classmate seems more appropriate. She ladles out a giant bowl of what is, in fact, bean and ham hock soup. "Mags ordered this specially from the kitchen," says Wyrus. "I did? It's comforting, I think." Mags sets the bowl in front of me. "Yeah, it is." I snuff up the steam, thinking about my twin sisters and Pa and Mama and now Luella, and I take a spoonful and I let the taste of home course through me, strengthening me for what's to come. "What is this place anyway?" I ask. "It's an apartment designed for the temporary rentals, and they've reserved it to hold the tributes this year," says Mags. We stayed in the barracks all last year, all 24 of us. This is more private, adds Wyrus. I wouldn't call the bathroom private. I hung my towel over the camera. Oh, those were just installed for the tributes. It's impossible to tell what they're watching, says Mags, but it will all be recorded. Wyatt pushes back from the table. All right, I guess I'll take my bath now. I want to say I'm sorry about what I said to you earlier, about your pa taking bets on you, but I haven't got the energy, so I just let him go without a word. My mentors let me eat in silence, soup, white bread, and butter, and a big piece of peach pie to finish, and I'm afraid that they're going to launch into a strategy session, but Mags only says, why don't you go to bed now, Hamish? We can talk in the morning. She takes me to a room with 2 beds covered with fuzzy orange spreads, each with a pair of pajamas on it, and she bids me good night. I change, I slide in between the sheets, and I think I'll never fall asleep, and I go out like a light. Lenore Dove says that my dreams are like a window into my mind, too clear to need interpretation, which is a nice way to say really obvious. Tonight they center on fearful things that have happened, blown up heads, chariot crashes, and fearful things that I dread will happen in the coming days, since I don't know exactly what I'll encounter when the gong starts to sound for the games. My brain borrows from past arenas, weapons, starvation, mutts. The first 2 are ancient evils, but mutations, or mutts for short, are genetic atrocities created in the lab to entertain the blood-hungry capital audience. And like the face-eating weasels, or in Wyrus's arena, the shiny silver beetles that swarmed the tributes, suffocating them, my brain fixates on the latter. As the beetles suck the oxygen from my lungs, I wake up gasping. Wyatt snores in the other bed. That alone makes me think that I was right about him not being my ally. He's gonna stay hidden in the arena if he saws like a log? Of course, he was fake snoring on the train when he was eavesdropping on me and Luella, so I look at him hard, but he appears to be dead to the world for real this time. I could get up, but I stay under the covers, grateful for some time to collect my thoughts. Things have unfolded so fast, I still can't completely wrap my head around the fact that Luella is gone. And now I have an offer from Ampert, who I can't help but like. I'm intrigued by his idea of a non-career pack, and I wonder if he'd take Wyatt and Maisie as well. He doesn't seem too particular about it. The tributes from District 7 and 8 are nothing special. He must be going for quantity over quality. Although 11, that might be a game changer. Still, I don't know about teaming up with them. Maybe I'll ask Mags what she thinks. Funny to have someone from 4, a career, as a mentor. Although she must have been a tribute early on, and maybe they weren't always careers. And as for Wyrus, I shouldn't judge her too harshly. If I could outsmart everybody the way that she did without lifting a finger, I mean, of course I would do it. But that seems more like something Ampert could pull off. The smell of fried food gets me out of bed, and I pull my clothes from last night back on and I head to the kitchen. Mags and Wyrus sit like they haven't been to bed, but the food is turned over. Big covered dishes of eggs, bacon, crusty discs of potatoes set my mouth watering. Good morning, Hamish, says Mags. Please, help yourself. And I pile my plate high and stack it with second buttered toast and jam, pour glasses of juice and milk, and I pass on the coffee. Again, they let me eat in peace, which I appreciate. Food always picks me up, so after a couple platefuls, I think that I might be able to survive today. It's going to take a lot of energy to face the careers, especially Panache. Pretty sure he thinks I owe him a chariot. I'm sipping sugar-hot tea when Maisie comes in, dressed exactly like me except for her necklaces, all in black with her hair pulled up from her face and her riding crop marks. There's something tough about her. Or maybe she's always been tough, but the ruffles and bows just made her seem snooty. She looks out of place behind the candy. She would look out of place behind the candy counter, which she clearly loathed. What did she dream of doing instead? Morning, Maisie. How did you sleep? Asks Mags. Better than the night before. Maisie pours herself a cup of black coffee and wraps her hands around it. Aren't you gonna eat? I ask. Nah, I'm not a breakfast person. You can see why she drives people nuts. If there's breakfast available in the scene, everybody's just pleased to see it. I spread jam out onto another piece of toast. It's going to come in handy in the arena, especially if you're not a lunch or supper person either. If you can manage to get a bit more down in the next few days, that would be a good thing, says Mags. And Maisie thinks about it and then serves herself a strip of bacon and takes a tiny bite. Not with her fingers, of course. I bet the Donners eat popcorn with a knife and fork, sorry. Wyatt joins us, sheet creased in his face. He's also dressed in black. Nice outfit, I say, trying to lighten things up between us. It's the same as yours, he says defensively. Do we have to go around dressed like triplets? Asks Maisie. It was bad enough being a twin. The Donner girls have a wide selection of matching outfits. I thought you liked that, I say. My mother likes that, she corrects me. Huh, maybe she loads up on jewelry because it's the way that she can be herself. Well, the Capitol provides this clothing, says Mags. Everyone will be dressed the same in the training area and the arena, but Magno should provide your interview costumes. Last year he sent your district tributes out in their training outfits, and he's probably on probation for that. So hopefully he's finding you something worthwhile. You're doing the training arena soon. Should we begin? I try to focus. This will likely be all the help that we get. I've mentored several times over the years, Mag continues. In the early games, I didn't ask the tributes what they wanted because the answer seemed so obvious. You want to live. But then I realized there are many desires beyond that. Mine had to do with my district partner, protecting him. Wyrus offers, I remember that I didn't want to die at night. I didn't want to die in darkness. The thought of that terrified me. So we'll ask you now. What do you want? Says Mags. And we sit in silence, each trying to formulate an answer. Yesterday mine had to do with protecting Luella, and now I mainly think about the people that I love, making my death as easy as possible for them. And I say, I don't want my girl and my family to watch me die some long, horrible death. Like, I keep thinking about those weasel nuts from a few years ago. They'd never get over that. Yeah. If I'm gonna go, I want to go fast, says Wyatt. I don't want people who bet on my death being drawn out and making money on it. It's a shocking thought. Would your family take bets on that? I ask, and Wyatt shrugs. Somebody would. I'm sure somebody already has. Yours too. That's how it works. I don't want to beg, says Maisie, or plead for my life. I want to go with my head held high. And after a pause, Mags asks, all right, anything else? And there is something else gnawing at the back of my brain, something to do with Sarshi and Pa, with Lenore Dove's rising sun, and with Maisley's welts, and Luella holding Luella up to President Snow. What was it that Amprit said about Luella last night? She's the one you made President Snow own? I want all that too, what all of you just said, but if I could, I'd also like to, and I glance at the camera in the corner, how do I say this when the Capitol might be watching, that I want to make the Capitol own what they're doing to us? I say, I want to remind the people that I'm here because the Capitol won the war, and they think that 50 years later, this is a fair way to punish the districts, but I'd like them to consider that 50 years is enough. That sounded sufficiently diplomatic. I wait for them to laugh or roll their eyes, but no one does. So you want to make them end the Hunger Games for good? How? Asks Maisie. I don't know yet, I admit. I guess, for starters, by reminding the audience that we're human beings. The way they talk about us, piglets, beasts, they called my fingernails claws. You saw how those kids outside the gym looked at us? Like they think of us as animals. They think of themselves as superior, so it's okay to kill us. But the people in the Capitol aren't better than us, and they aren't smarter. Yeah, if anything, they're stupider, says Maisie, who clearly doesn't give two hoots about the camera. Look at the mess that they made with our reaping. The chariot parade or Wyrus's games last year, they couldn't even get her gifts to her. Show something like that. Yeah, force them to admit that we're people too, says Wyatt, and they're the beasts for killing us. Right, but I'm not as clever as Wyrus. I can't outthink the arena, I say. I know, right? Now you said I was thinking about that. He really had a hand in it. Well, maybe you can, Wyrus encourages me. The arenas are just a machine, really, a killing machine. It's possible to outsmart it. Wyatt rolls his coin over his knuckles. The trick would be getting them to show it on camera. If it involves killing someone else, they would certainly show that, says Maisie. Or killing yourself, adds Wyatt. It's something to think over. You could easily put yourself or your allies at risk, though, warns Mags, nodding at Wyatt and Maisie. Hamish doesn't want us for allies, says Wyatt. Really, that's where he's going? Nice, Wyatt, I say. So I'm the jerk, not the meanest girl in town, or the guy who's got odds so scum he can make bets on dead kids? Mags gives me a worried look. It's good to have allies. You may find yourself gravitating towards one another anyway when you go into training. Maisie addresses Wyatt. I could be your ally, if you're not too choosy. Okay, he says. And even though everything I said was true, I regret saying it. It's not like I'm perfect. They both get under my skin, but I'm blaming them for too much. They didn't kill Luella, or pick me in the reaping, or create the Hunger Games. I need to back off. Besides, if I'm going to paint a decent poster in the arena, I'll need time, which allies could buy me. And this is how he knew they would be good to bring into this game. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Amanda. Okay, look, I tell them. There's this kid from 3, Ampert, who wants me to join his alliance. He's got 7 and 8, and 11 might even be in. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I can ask if they want you guys, and I can tell them that you're both smart. Maisie gives a little shrug, and Wyatt nods. Yeah, packs do have better odds, at least in the beginning. Someone to watch their back. I wish that he would shut up about the odds. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind, I say. So what's training like? They'll be holding it at the gym where they groomed you, Mags tells us. There will be stations to set up and allow you to prepare for what you'll face in the arena. Don't be distracted by what others are choosing. Prioritize what you'll need to survive. Some way to defend myself, I say. Or a good way to hide, says Maisie. Oh, what's the most important? Asks Wyatt. Wyrus breaks into a little song. First avoid the slaughter, get the weapons, look for water, find the food and where to sleep, fire and friends you can keep. I made that up for myself. Most important, at least. So I would have a plan in the arena. I knew that I couldn't fight in the bloodbath, which meant that I had to get away from the cornucopia quickly. But I didn't end up needing a weapon, except my brain. But you likely will. The cornucopia might be your chance to grab one. So if not, you need to make something, even if it's just a pointed stick. Then find water. Water before food. You'll die of thirst much more quickly than you will of hunger. But yeah, then food. Fire can be good for light and cooking, and heat if it's cold. But you might not need it, and it could be dangerous if it reveals your position. Friends, for me, would have been very risky. Same sloth. Yes, but friends were at the top of my list, says Mags. You all must decide for yourselves. What about building a shelter? Asks Wyatt. There's a good chance that you'll be on the move, Mags answers. Your sleeping spot might change nightly. In my experience, allies to keep watch are far more important than a roof. You snore, I tell Wyatt. No, I don't. I was Frank snoring on the train, he says. Bad news. You also real snore, I say. Like a bear, Maisie confirms. I could hear you through the wall. All right, try to find someplace loud to sleep, then, advises Mags, next to rushing water or the muffled sound of a cave. I'll put a blanket or something over your head, says Maisie, or I'll wake you if you're really loud. Yeah, I forgot that you'll be there too, says Wyatt. I guess friends top my list too. What else happens in the training? Experts will be there to teach you how to use the weapons and show you how to make a fire, says Mags. Look for clues to your arena. The game makers sometimes hide little hints about the nature of the arena in their designs. Not in the beginning, of course. My games were so long ago. Training, if you could call it back then, was minimal. We didn't get any clues in or out of the arena. Last year, some of the survival stations had reflective items like foil blankets, metal bowls, and at the fire building station, a little round mirror. I think that was a clue, but I didn't understand it until I saw the arena, says Wyrus. Inside, when I understood the nature of the place, my instinct was to walk towards the danger because, in fact, it was only a reflection of danger, not the danger itself. Trust your instincts. That's good advice in general, says Mags. And the intercom crackles to life and a voice announces that it's time to leave for training. Mags pins fabric squares with the number 12 on our backs, and we're met by peacekeepers at the elevator, loaded into the van and transported to the gym. As we step out into the sunlight, Maisie gives Wyatt the once-over. You need more attitude, Wyatt. And he tries to look tougher. No, that's worse, she says. Push your jaw out. Stand up tall. Stick out your chest. And she musses his hair and pushes up his sleeves. You've got some muscle from the mines. You need to show it off. Hey, Monique. Yeah, that is better, I admit. The black clothes don't hurt. We're from District 12. We're the crummiest district stinkhole in Pan Am, says Maisie. And we're wild, like our chariot horses. I slugged our escort, and Hamish called out President Snow. Nobody pushes us around. We are unpredictable, says Wyatt. Just a bunch of loose cannons, I agree. And the peacekeepers open the door and we head in, sending out our best loose cannon vibes. The place has been transformed. The makeover stations have been replaced with survival skill booths, fire building, knots, skinning animals, camouflage, overseen by trainers fitted with white jumpsuits. The far end of the gym has been reserved for various types of weapon instruction. The other tributes swarm around the booths, dressed in the same outfits but in an assortment of colors. I'm glad that we got black because everybody looks sickly in snot green. Sucks for you, District 1, and the buttery yellow of District 9 makes them look about as threatening as a hat full of baby chicks. Nylon ropes divide the bleachers to our right into 12 sections marked with the district numbers. Ours sits closest to the door. The tributes' bleachers are empty except for the kids from District 11 who are gathered in a tight clump of dark green, heatedly discussing something. Are we always the last ones to arrive at everything? Complains Maisie. Keep 'em waiting, I say, but we're consistently an afterthought and no one has been waiting for us. Loose cannons, Wyatt reminds us, and we straighten up and stride into the thick of it. Mags is right. Here at the gym, we do stick to one another. We're the only ones we know, and at the games, we're the least likely to kill one another. We should throw knives, decides Maisie. It's not a bad idea, despite what I promised Ma. I'm not a complete stranger to knife games, although the fondness for my toes keeps me away from Mumbledy-Peg. A target on an old shed or a tree, well, that part's fair game. Blair's really good, and I'm not too shabby myself, and I think of the brand new birthday pocket knife that I didn't get to throw even once, and I hope that Sid gets some joy from it. As we weave our way to the knife range, I notice a few camera crews covering the training and a smattering of peacekeepers patrolling the gymnasium. To our left, the top section of the bleachers is full of game makers draped in snowy gowns. They mosey around, drinking coffee and making notes on the tributes below. In a few days, we will each receive a score, 1 to 12, which ranks our likelihood of winning the games. People will use it as a guide on whether or not they want to sponsor us. We join a group of the tributes from 7, clad in russet brown, and everybody sizes one another up while a capital woman, Hercilia, instructs us on knife throwing. Ampert said 7 has already agreed to join the alliance, and they make a favorable impression. They seem confident, but not full of themselves. One of them, a slim girl with glossy black braids and a small carved pin of a tree on her shirt, tells me that her name is Regina, and so I tell her mine. Once we all grasp the basics on how to hold the blade, straighten the arm motion, and no flicking of the wrist, we line up to throw. On a stand, there's a basket of about a dozen different knives, but only one tribute can have their hand on a weapon at a time. You throw, and then a guy in a white suit collects the knife and returns it. Hercilia selects the model for the next tribute. A lot of knives bounce off the target, although Maisie hits more than she misses, and not to brag, I stick it every time. The throwing unwinds me a bit, since all my associations are good ones, hanging out with friends in the woods, messing around, and when Regina hits the bullseye, I forget where I am and I give her a nice shot. As Regina accepts the compliment with a quick grin, the energy shifts, and I know I'm never going to kill this girl any more than I'm going to kill Maisie or Wyatt, so I might as well be 7's allies, and I join Ampert's team for real. I open the negotiation with, "So, Ampert says that you all are," and where there's a blur of snot green to my left, the clatter of knives as the baskets upset, and the sensation of a sledgehammer hits my ribs. If you've ever been sucker punched, you know that there's a double outrage of pain and the unfairness of the attack, and as I lie gasping on the mat, watching Panesh close in, my fingers grip a knife handle, and before I can rise, the peacekeepers tase him, and 3 drag him off. Wyatt offers me a hand as the other tributes gather the knives. There's a moment, just as I get to my feet, where I look around and I'm unarmed and they're armed, and half a dozen of us hold sleek, deadly knives, and I see that there aren't very many peacekeepers here today. No, not really. We outnumber them 4 to 1, and if we moved quickly, we could probably free up some of those tridents and spears and swords at the other stations and have ourselves a real nice arsenal. And I meet Regina's eyes, and I swear that she's thinking the same thing when Hercia holds out the basket, and it takes Regina some effort to drop her knife in. The 2 of us resume our places at the end of the line, hanging back a little just out of earshot as the training continues. "Raise your arms," Regina says, and I gingerly reach up and she feels my rib cage where Panesh's blow landed. "All right, not broken, I think." And she steps back, her lips pressed tight in consternation. We could have taken them. The more I think it over, the more dismay grows. Every year we let them herd us up into their killing machine. Every year they pay no price for the slaughter. They just throw a big party and box our bodies like presents for our families to open back home. Yeah, we could have at least done some damage, I tell Regina. At least a little, possibly a considerable amount, someone says behind me, and I turn to see Plutarch, and he waves his camera crew over to record the knife training, but his attention stays on me. The question I have is, why didn't you? Why didn't you indeed? It's hard. They're children, you know? We can't ask that much of them. It's hard to expect kids to lead the revolution, you know what I mean? Gosh. It's what a book to be reading during this time, you know? I mean, when we decided, oh, good burp, honey. When we decided that we were going to reread the whole Hunger Games, I don't think we could have known what was going to be going on when we hit this book. Did any of you see any of the speech yesterday that sounded an awful lot like there's going to be a Hunger Games in real life? Did you guys see that one? It hit too close to home this morning when I saw it. I was like, oh, God, okay. It was a lot. Yeah, it is terrifying. It's a bit much, and that's putting it lightly, obviously. You know, it struck me, and I didn't stop to say anything about it at the time, but when we were reading about Hamish taking the bath, and he said that, I don't blame you, Liz, he said that the fluffy towels and the creamy soap were a luxury that they, you know, don't have. It made me think of, hi, beautiful angel. It made me think of all of the people who actively voted for what is happening right now, and how so many of the people who did that voting are the ones who are going to suffer the most. We'll all suffer, don't get me wrong. I'm not out here being like, I'm going to get off scot-free. That's not what I'm saying by any stretch. But some people will suffer more than others, for sure, right? I think that's pretty clear. And a strong majority of people who will suffer this did vote for it. The financial part of it. Of course they will. Of course they will blame us for it somehow. It's magical how they managed to do that. Oh, honey, don't cry. But it was an interesting thought, right? You know? So, yeah. Hi, my angel. It is an interesting dichotomy of people who can't even vote in their own interest or their children's interests, you know? Okay, speaking of children's interest, no, I haven't seen it, Amanda. You should link me. I'm going to go because somebody clearly wants to eat. She's been asleep for over an hour, so I'm going to go feed her. But I hope you all have as good of a day as possible. I'm wearing black. Like I said, I'm mourning the death of our country. And I'm going to go feed this tiny human, and we'll see how the day goes. All right, bye, guys. See you tomorrow.